So how long do we want this one to go? Like 24 minutes, 20 minutes, 15 minutes?
20 minutes. 20 minutes tops.
Yeah, so I think people start to lose focus and stuff after really the first probably 10 minutes almost.
Well, yeah, and if you do this on double play, I don't know if it's...
We play everything at 1.2 speed. All the podcasts that I listen to, guys, 1.2 speed, so.
I go double speed, so you can get through them a lot quicker.
Anyways, hey guys, we're back with episode 2 of the Turf Nerds. Nerds. I'm Evan.
I'm Ben.
And yeah, we really enjoyed the last episode, just giving a crash course about, my business and how I built it. God actually built it for me, but I put in the hard work and the effort, and anyone can do it. So we're back here with episode 2, and this should be a pretty good episode.
Yeah, so how was your last week of mowing since the last time we were on? How'd everything go?
Things are starting to get a little bit, I guess, more fun because it's been so dry for the past about month or so.
Yeah.
And we haven't had any rain. And even with the clients that turn their sprinklers on, it all depends on how much shade you have in your yard. Some lawns absolutely just bake, and people run their sprinklers all the time. I had a guy named Mike. He's got a great house. He just moved into it, 3,000 square feet. Probably cost around $500,000. He's been running his sprinklers. A new client came over to me actually last week. Said, "Hey, I'm running my sprinklers every day at 5 a.m. Why is my lawn not looking brown?" I'm like, "Mike, your lawn's kind of on a hill, so it's just baking right now. So all you can do is water it." Whereas the woman next to Mike named Faith doesn't even run sprinklers, and her lawn's green because she lives in the shade. So friendly tip about that too. People don't know. It's like, live in the shade and your grass will be better. If you are out in the open, water it a lot, but it just bakes. That's just weather. It's just what God is sending us right now.
Did
so
you check the forecast lately. Are we getting any rain anytime soon? I know we had rain on Friday, and that probably helped a little bit.
We're not going to be getting, I think, any serious rain until probably like next Monday. So we have this whole upcoming week now. It'll be nice and dry. I'll be able to catch up on mowing because I took, an extended weekend off there on the 4th.
Yeah, the 4th of July. Yep.
Yeah, you can do that. How this business works is there is no off days. I've mowed a lot of holidays, but if you mow ahead, then you can afford to take some time off. And I'm only taking off 2 or 3 days. So
mowing the holidays, are your clients cool with that, or do you ever have anybody come outside and like, what are you doing?
We did actually. We mowed on the 4th. This is when Zach was still working for me 3 years ago, and we have a guy from our church. His name is Scott Human. So he's a chiropractor.
I know Dr. Scott.
Yeah, so he kind of talks like this. So, anyways, really nice house. I don't know. I think he overcharges for things, but he's a chiropractor. We'll just put that in air quotes. Doesn't like any of his stuff touched. Well, anyways, Zach and I show up to mow at 6:45 in the morning. We start mowing. Zach's come out basically
on the 4th.
Yeah, on the 4th.
I would say that's a
anyway. So
non-starter right there.
Doc comes outside. Scott does. Basically buck naked. He basically had boxers on, and he has his hands crossed. He's kind of a big belly. He's 6'4". He's a tall guy. He's kind of a yo-yo dieter. Well, he'll go in seasons where he loses a whole bunch of weight. Then it's like, where did you just eat 5 guys the entire week? Anyway, so he comes outside and goes, "Hey, Evan, why you mowing on here the 4th? Don't you be like off with Zach? Like, what's up with that?" And he said some other choice words, but we mowed it and got out of there. But he never let that down. So, and then we also used to mow his office though too, and he was so just cheap and anal about certain things. It was pretty funny. He's like, "Hey, can you weed whip those weeds there, the cracks for me? Makes it look better around here." I'm like, "Doc, this place is a dump."
Hey,
so
he's in Florida now. Hopefully he never sees this.
Good guy. I don't think he'll ever actually see this, so we have like nothing to worry about. But that would be funny though if he did, because he'll be up here in August because he decides to move to Florida and then complains about it. So go figure. But
hey, so before we get into today's topic for the podcast, just something a little fun. What kind of stuff do you listen to when you're mowing all day long?
I listen to a lot of things. A lot of conservative podcasts. I really like Charlie Kirk. We have Undaunted Life with Kyle Thompson. That's a man's podcast. You have Cooper stuff, Renewing Your Mind by R.C. Sproul. That's more of like a mini. It's just all sermons by the theologian R.C. Sproul. The Briefing by Albert Mohler. I like to listen to Mumford and Sons. A lot of different stuff. I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist by Frank Turek. That's a really good podcast series too. I can go on and on. Fearless by Jason Whitlock. Like, this guy's money. The Unashamed podcast, Phil Robertson, Jace Robertson, Al Robertson, Duck Dynasty. Those guys have a really good Bible studying podcast. I do bounce around to some mowing podcasts, but nothing to really mention on here. So
any radio, talk radio, sports radio?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a passive sports fan, so we have a local sports station here, 97.1 The Ticket, and so I'm constantly listening to them. They're always doing drops, and
I think I've heard a ticket text or two from Evan on a mower.
yeah, I've done a lot of ticket text. Pat Caputo's read them, Mike Valeni, Jim Costa, Brian Chapman. It was funny. I've been having to mow like a lot of Saturdays, and so Pat Caputo's on from about 10 to 2 on Saturdays. He's on before the Tigers. So, anyways,
They call me the book.
he's basically the sabermetrics, and he asks for your opinion. He goes, "What's your opinion? How do you feel about it?" But then when you give him the opinion, he doesn't want the opinion. Well, anyways, I was mowing a lawn, a really nice client's lawn. This client actually has their main house in the Bahamas,
Oh, wow.
and they have their, I guess, off-season house here. It's in Farmington Hills, kind of near 9 Mile and Halstead Road. And so Pat was talking about this, just the Tigers, and I basically texted in saying, realistically, do you think the Tigers will get the 500 this season? And Pat goes, "Oh, we got a text from Evan on a mower." And then he starts going, he goes, and then towards the end of his reading my text of what I sent, then he goes, "What's more annoying, a mower on Saturday morning or my voice?" So it was actually
So he
pretty
played
funny.
it into
So
something pretty good.
yeah, so I mean, you could do shameless self plugs for your lawn business, even on radio stations, guys. I mean, if you call it, I mean, not saying to do it that way. The best way to really promote flyers, word of mouth. Like, I haven't spent a dime on any sort of marketing at all. Nothing. Not online. It's we were mowing 200 lawns a week at one point, as I talked about in the last episode, just through word of mouth. Your biggest friend is word of mouth, and then people actually will talk about you on like the Nextdoor app and things like that too. So it really, really powerful venues out there. It's like people are the best way to get your name out there. So
Absolutely. Nextdoor gets a ton of traction now. I think that, for various neighborhoods.
oh yeah, Nextdoor, the app's great. It's also kind of full of gossip too. It's kind of like the Ring app, but no one's ever badmouthed me on there. We try to get out. I mean, people complain about guys mowing too early. Like, generally, I don't start until about 8, a tad after, because we're in nice neighborhoods. They're $500,000 houses, and depending on the times, we'll mow early, and then if it's a Saturday or Sunday, I kind of go a tad later to show some mercy on people, and it's also been dry, so it's helped out too.
And just in case we have anybody that's watching or listening from California, a $500,000 house here is like a $3 million house there.
Yeah, it's cost of living perspective, right? Big time. So
yeah. So podcasts you listen to, some talk radio, sports radio.
Yeah.
What about music? You mentioned Mumford and Sons. Who else do you like to listen
Mumford
to?
and Sons. I like the band called Red. I actually listen to, oddly enough, network ensemble music. It's like dramatic instrumental sports music, and like ESPN uses it. This kind of music to motivate, but I love my rock, my folk rock, a little bit metal here and there, maybe some worship music. I actually have listened today. I was listening to the Bible, just Bible narration, so that's pretty cool. When you get so bored mowing, you kind of hop around and listen to a whole bunch of stuff. I like to listen to Christian apologetics, like Bob Duco here on our local radio station 103.5. And a lot of things, but then also with mowing though too, you just have a lot of time just to space out, and that's where we think about business and life and how to grow the business through trials and tragedies when things strike. So when you go through difficult times.
And speaking of that, we wanted to talk about some of the difficulties that
yeah.
you face in the lawn care business, and also kind of hitting on what happened when the pandemic
that was
hit, how that affected all of the lawn, at least in Michigan. It was
big time,
a huge effect. So go talk about that a little bit.
So the end of the 2019 season, I mean, that was when Zach worked the most. He almost made $30,000 working for me. We were cutting a lot. That's when he was still trying to figure out what he wanted to do. So end of 2019, into 2020, my wife and I, we actually went to Florida. We were on a plane just before the pandemic hit, and we were kind of making fun of people wearing masks there on the plane. That's before when they did that. And then we got home from Florida, COVID hit, and then everything shut down. And our governor, I would definitely say that she scalped the lawn on this one with how she handled COVID and how she was treating kind of the lawn guys and what she deemed as essential and non-essential business though too. It's like, I mean, lawn care, I'm the king of social distancing because I'm constantly outside away from people. So she actually didn't open up for us mowing until like the first week of May, and lawns were already starting to get long, and guys were panicking. But I was actually doing some side work. I didn't really care. They're not going to arrest me for doing a spring cleanup when COVID was going around. It was because we didn't even know like what it was about either. So
right, and it was a bit bizarre because, like you said, out of all the jobs where you've got social distancing,
oh sure,
lawn care would be at the top. It's like
we're basically Bigfoot.
You're nowhere near anybody
like
all day long.
When I had Zach working for me, like Zach's not the most like extroverted person. I mean, he would make it a point to not talk to lawn clients of mine if he had to, but people knew him, and Zach even says like, "Oh, I'm a social distancing king when I work for you," because no one's coming up to us. I mean, are we gonna give COVID to the house, type of thing, like the side of someone's brick? So it was kind of funny how Whitmer was treating some of the landscapers because we didn't really know what to do because there's certain double standards. Like you couldn't buy paint at the Home Depot where you're messing over painters with people trying to grow their paint business. So it was strange. But then COVID started back up, and I mean, actually, people could afford us. Gas was cheap at Costco. I think I paid like 95 cents for gas then.
Wow.
Prices were pretty. Prices were like for cuts were actually pretty competitive, like there at the time.
Did you have anybody that was like, "Hey, I'm working from home now. I can mow the lawn myself. I'm not going to need you this season."
Not really. I think more people now with gas still being, I mean, I buy plus gas, but gas is hovering right around $5, $5.20. I didn't really. People never really told me that. Like actually, one guy actually did. He said he was going to start cutting his own lawn towards the end of 2021 last year. He's like, I'll cut it 1 week, then you cut the other week. And I just told him no. And then I kowtowed it for about a month. Next thing you know, I mow it weekly now. He just stopped doing that. So, I mean, no one wants to cut their grass. So
my brother-in-law, who you know very well, is a CPA, and he does
Jason.
taxes.
Just like that.
Once in a while, one of his clients will have the bright idea, "Hey, you're charging me too much. I'm going to do my taxes myself this year."
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, "Well, okay." And probably 90+% of the time, as the deadline is approaching, that person comes back to him and says,
"Hey, Jay,
hey, can you help me with my taxes?" And
he just goes,
he'll either be like, "Hey, if he's got the ability in his schedule, okay, I'll try to fit you in, but it's going to cost you." Or he'll say, "I'm sorry, I'm too busy."
Same with lawn care, because I mean the joy with this business, I don't even work off of a handshake. Okay, I work off of a handshake. I don't work off a contract.
Yeah.
So the joyous thing about me is I had to drop 25 people even this year, like a couple months ago. And the joyous thing about me is, hey, we're a handshake. I can drop you anytime you want. Guess what? They can drop me anytime they want too. So
yeah. So how does that conversation happen? How do you, if you have to basically fire a client, how do you go about doing that?
Well, yeah, and this totally links back to COVID. Like this whole thing kind of happened because of COVID, though, too. Is it put people out of work, and then they were offering unemployment basically just to sit and breathe. And I would say only a certain amount of people actually legitimately need the unemployment. Like we had people my age who were just like taking the unemployment, and they're getting paid more off of Bidenomics. They're getting paid $17.50 to $19 an hour to sit and not cut grass. So I've actually had to. And that's the problem. So then Zach kind of took a different turn with what he wanted to do with work, which is all power to him. And then I tried to hire someone else. I tried to find people. I couldn't find anyone though, too.
Weren't you like searching some sites? I don't know.
Yeah, I tried a whole bunch of different things.
Did you have like an ex-convict that you almost had working
I did.
for you?
This was kind of strange. I put it on some free job posting website, and I was with my buddy Alex Quint. So anyways, I put on this free job posting website, and this guy reaches out to me. I was sitting there with Alex. I'm like, "Hey, Alex, I got someone to replace Zach." It's like, great. So we were checking him out, and I made the mistake of saying, okay, like I didn't really ask that much info. I just said, hey, meet me at my house tomorrow.
Ooh.
And then we Googled him. Like he had like a rap sheet of 5 different things, like home invasion, a couple of like evading police and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, sheesh. Basically, I asked him when his birthday. I basically got more info than I should out of him. And I'm like, okay, yeah, this is this guy. I said,
this is the guy.
I don't remember his name. I think it was Brandon or something like that. I'm like, hey, man, sorry. It's not going to work. Don't come. And then he actually didn't show up because we were kind of scared that like my wife and I. Yeah, so my wife and I were actually kind of scared the following night that, he's going to come over. And I'm like, no, we never came over. So that was dodged a bullet. But you can't, this back to this, the struggles. So my clients do not want to have someone who's got a rap sheet on their property. I don't care who it is. Sorry. You have an image. You have to look a certain way. And don't get me wrong. There's convicts. There's people that have fallen on hard times. They've messed up in life. They're looking there to second chance. But I'm just saying, it's very far and few that you could hire someone like that. So,
yeah, that's true. So, it's been a struggle though to find a good person.
That's why,
and you have to find somebody that you can trust.
Yes, that's why I've had to fire people. So this year, I thought I kind of did the math, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to mow 125 lawns a week this year. Okay. Wanted to do Monday through Thursday. You kind of want to have that extra off day on Friday, not off day, just a day for maintenance, for hedge trimming, other landscaping jobs, things like that. Well, anyways, I thought I had 125. I had 150 that I had been mowing for 7 days straight. This started at the end of April. We went all the way through May. I'm like, crap, I had to get rid of people. So I fired 25 people, and all in all, everyone understood though too, because I can't find anyone to help me out to do this. So
now, when you fire them, did you give them some other lawn care company that you knew to talk to? I
got a funny buddy named Derek. He was basically born into the lawn care business, so they actually took on a lot of my lawns, people that I fired last year though too. So we got rid of 60 last year and about 25 this year though too. So, and then fired a couple people off, in 2020 though as well. So, it's a sad state of affairs, and the best advice I can give the people, this is from, learning, and I'm still young, I still have a lot to learn though too, but very few guys can make it with big company. Like, very few guys can start their business from the ground up and turn it into a multi-million-dollar there's only, it's like hitting the lotto.
Well, I mean, what you have to end up doing is find kind of younger clones of yourself.
Oh, sure.
That can be developed to branch off. You don't have to be with them all day long.
That's the problem.
They're taking their trailer and their equipment.
It's so hard to trust people.
30 lawns while you're doing 30 others.
Because I had even several clients told me, they're like, you should run 2 crews. You're great at this and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, but you're not going to get the same quality of work. Oh, sure, there's people that can cut better than me, whip better than me, edge, and they're hard to find. And if you do find them, they're already tied into a bigger company around here that's making millions. They're grossing millions though too, and it's you can't compete with those guys. So you just got to offer almost a boutique service. And I finally surrendered to it. Working for myself and working solo, not paying a soul, is the best thing ever. So
yeah,
really is.
And so you're staying around the 125 lawns right now.
Yeah, and
so
give or take, we just picked up a new client today. His name was Charlie, and so it was funny. There's this guy, really cool story, guys. So lives in a nice neighborhood. He had a guy that was cutting for him for 25 years, and he kind of stopped cutting for him this year. So then Charlie hired this other company. He prepaid. They've been doing a crap job. So then he came up to me. It was on my last lawn tonight. He's like, "Hey, I want you to start cutting my lawn. I like how you edge." I said, "What happened to your old lawn guy?" He goes, "Well, I don't want him to cut it anymore. He's 75, but now he's going back to Ford to work in the factory."
Oh boy!
And so he's working 7 days a week. I'm like, that guy's nuts. So,
wow,
it's crazy, isn't it? Yeah, but about 125-ish is comfortable. Like, you want to have room for error for rain. Like, that's what I tell guys. So it's so hard to catch up.
You can do if you want to go 5 days a week, you got to be doing 25 a day, which sounds like that's doable for you.
Yes. So this week, things have been going pretty well. I've actually 2 days I've mowed 27 a day, and then today was 23. So just depends, because we had some rain, then we were out of town. It depends on how many multi-house stops you have, and then I have a neighborhood where I have 30 houses in them, but they're not necessarily all clumped in like they're 2s, 4s, 6s, and so
it's not like it's 15 on one side, 15 on the other, then you're done.
Yeah, you really want a 14 house stop, but hey, more lawns you can get in you want to drop your gate literally as least as you can, and that's what I've sadly had to learn through the pandemic and stuff. It's like before, Zach and I could pick off a single stop a half a mile down the street from neighborhoods that we had a whole bunch, and that one sent me back. Whereas I actually had to get rid of. I basically have a 3-stop minimum now, guys, and you develop such a great relationship with your clients, and then you cut these people off, and it's like, okay, you got to know where your loyalty stands though too, because it's a business, and all these people that I've cut off, they're not even thinking about me now. Like, they'll be mad or kind of upset. Some are heartbroken for one day, and then they move on. It's just a guy, who cuts grass. So
Right. But there are some that you do have a connection with that if you were to have to cut them, there would be,
a couple
almost
of them.
like a little bit of a friendship lost.
That's how it was with some of them, and it's like you have to keep explaining and telling them this, and they just don't get it. And I'm like, read my email. I don't want to drop you. I don't have any help. I can't keep up. Mowing 7 days a week, that's not fun. I need to actually get some other side jobs done that make more money. Mowing's great if you have a really, dense route. If you don't, then that's where your landscaping jobs earn you big bucks. So it's you walk kind of a fine line, and the thing is, all of them that I've cut, God replaces people in great ways. It's like this when you get anxious and think your business is going down the crapper. It's crazy. Oh, I'm in this neighborhood where I have 30. That neighbor came out. Hey, it's halfway through the season. I want you to start cutting my lawn. So,
yeah, yep, yeah. It seems like every time that there's been something that could be perceived to be a negative, another door is open for you.
That's what I've told you too. I mean, because you talk about it. You've given me great, solid advice with business and finance, and you're kind of the creative consult behind E&D. And so I just say, hey Ben, I lost this guy, but then I gained someone else, and then you just do things to set your. I was trying to do things to set myself apart, even during like the pandemic though too. And a lot of the clients, like, they didn't care. Like, they just said, cut my grass, because you can't have lawns get 2 feet tall. So
yeah, we'll end on one funny story here. Okay?
Sure. Yeah.
This pandemic related.
Yeah.
My nephew Evan, who just graduated from high school.
Yep, he's starting his own business too. We'll have to get him on the show, guys.
We will.
He's more of a landscaper than I am.
So the pandemic hit when he was a sophomore in high school.
Yeah.
And junior year, they were still figuring out everything from a sports perspective.
Yeah.
So this would have been, I guess, winter 2021.
Yeah.
Wrestling season. So wrestling, there's no other sport where you're touching the other person nonstop, sweat on sweat. You're grappling for several minutes at a time. So they have these wrestling matches. That was, okay. But then at the end of the match, they weren't allowed to shake hands with their competitor. Does that make any sense at all?
Backwards, right? Touch each other, basically get super close, and then you can't shake hands. It was all backwards. It made no sense. So
yeah, it just goes back to the thing with the lawn service where how that made any sense and why they let it take so long.
Yeah, it's
to
like,
then allow it.
Why,
it's kind of crazy.
Why are they not allowing? It's like lawn care is pretty essential, because I can tell you one thing: grass grows, and I've seen some houses that like 4 feet tall grass. Grass can get nasty and full of bugs. It's not good for the. Did you hear about this? We got to end this soon, but no mow May, where people were not mowing to help the bee population. I'm like, that's the biggest load of dung that I've ever. I'm like, really? I'm like, what are they going to come up with like next? It's like, just don't cut it, period. Yeah. So, man, it's crazy.
Well, I think we'll cut it off there for tonight.
I thought we covered some great ground today, guys. We just love you guys listening, and we're gonna have guests here on the show. Yeah, my wife will be coming up. She kind of really has helped me.
Yeah, I think it'll be
backflow of the business.
Interesting, maybe for some other folks to hear what it's like to be the wife of a lawn guy.
Yeah, just babble.
My sister has the same type of thing where she's the wife of a tax guy. So there's a season where you're like a tax widow, and I'm sure your wife can attest to that on the lawn.
She's been kind of a lawn widow, because I know your brother-in-law. And when tax season comes in, I mean, when you do taxes too, but when tax season comes in, like Big J's off the grid. So it's like, bro, he's like, sorry, bro, getting taxes done. So, but guys, thanks.
We'll talk to you next time.
Rate, subscribe to The Vibe.